I'm back again with more relationship advice, and not just even advice. Like, I'm here to give you the inside scoop on what marriage counselors like myself see as being the biggest mistake that couples can make compared to the alternative, the happy path. I wanted to let you in on this so that you have a chance to have a really positive outcome the way that so many of our couples do. So here's the biggest mistake that we see couples make, and this is borne out by research, is that couples wait too long to get help for their relationship. And it's easy to do. I know I did this myself. Like when my husband and I were going through a rough patch, I thought about every time we had an argument or one of those yucky moments, I thought we need to do something, but I never made the call. It could be expensive. I don't know what's going to happen. How would it be any different? Like us going and having the same conversation in a professional's office when it's not working when we have it at home, not really understanding, I think, how it worked. But eventually I did. And thankfully, we did it soon enough. And we also got connected with an experienced person who really specialized in couples counseling. And she was able to help us. I mean, I think we went 6-8 sessions, and it made such a big difference. I went really a few times. And that was over 20 years ago. And it totally changed the trajectory of our relationship. I think it really saved us. And I didn't know this at the time, but what I know now is that relationship problems do not get better by themselves. A lot of people are like, well, we're just stressed out. It's a hard time. It'll get better. That is actually not what happens. Relationship problems tend to get worse over time rather than better. Because again, relationships are systems. And when a negative cycle takes over a relationship, it really it's like a race to the bottom. People start being very negative with each other. Negative behaviors tend to increase. So people becoming more withdrawn, more hostile, more critical, more angry. It also starts to damage trust, and it starts to damage the respect that people have for each other. It starts to damage at some point the commitment that people have to a relationship, which is just scary to think about, but it's true. Relationship problems without intervention tend to become more magnified. People become more polarized, and over time, it can lead to the disintegration of a relationship to the point where the best marriage counselor in the world cannot put it back together again. And it's awful. And that is what happens. A lot of couples think, well, it's not that bad. We don't need couples counseling. And so they don't do anything about it. And it starts to get worse and worse over time. And then by the time they do eventually show up for couples counseling, it has gotten so bad that someone is threatening divorce or is in the process of moving out, or someone has had an affair. And then it's like a big emergency. We're coming into couples counseling. And often what I see, which is just the biggest tragedy to me in some ways, is often the person who was the most obstructionist about getting help. The one who was saying, no, it's not that big of a deal, blowing off the concerns, it's too expensive, whatever. They are the ones who are perched on my couch. They are caffeinated. They have their little notebook to take notes. They're like, whatever you need me to do, I'm ready. Let's do this. And they're so motivated to make changes. And it is because their partner is done. And when someone is done, it's often the case that they are really done. And it's like they want to care. They want the relationship. And they just don't, because it has stretched and atrophied over so many years that it has really damaged their hope, changed their narrative about who the partner is, and they've really often spent so much time trying and fighting for the relationship and feeling rejected over and over again, that eventually they just stopped and they started protecting themselves and withdrawing emotionally from the relationship. And there comes a certain point when you can't fix it. And in contrast to that, though, are the couples that we also see who, at the very first sign of issues, things start to get weird. They are able to say, hey, this isn't getting better. Let's go do something about it. So they come in, we do some coaching, they work with us 6, 8, 10 sessions sometimes. And because it's like they still have that goodwill, they're still motivated, their relationship hasn't been damaged to the point where it's like, so difficult. It's very easy to work with them. Oftentimes it just takes a few conversations. We teach them new skills and strategies and help them really teach them how to reconnect with each other, and not just in the room, but really arm them with skills and strategies to take with them for, years from now. That's what my husband and I had. We had marriage counseling so long ago, and to this day, we're still using some of the skills and strategies that we learned during those sessions. It was the best thing we ever did. And I want the same thing for you. I don't want to be, sitting with you guys on my couch when one of you is just done and the other one is heartbroken, because that is just so awful. It's awful for me. It's awful for you. And I often think to myself during those conversations with a couple who is so far gone that marriage counseling is no longer an option. I think, I wish you guys had gotten here like 3 years ago, because I could have helped you, and now I can't. But hopefully I can help you. And so that's why I'm sharing this with you. I hope that you take this advice to heart, and I hope that you get help for your relationship so that you can start creating a positive cycle, a positive trajectory, so that you can have years of health and happiness together, because you deserve that and you can have it. Just don't wait too long.